Today I picked number 176. The more loving you are, the more intelligent you become. That is by Rubino. The more loving you are, the more intelligent you become. And then I wrote, may you be brilliant. And I attached it to this sun painting. This is interesting because I was just reading an email from Simone Soul where she talked about going to a fortune teller and them saying that she has good fortune because she makes wise choices. Which reminded me of also hearing that one definition of intelligence is the ability to have as many choices, to be able to see like all the creative possibilities that are there, your access to the infinite, to the truth. So a few days ago, YouTube just brought up on my feed this like therapy session with NPD, and I didn't even know what that was, but it's Narcissistic Personality Disorder. I was curious. One of the things that struck me that when they described their past selves, like when they were more hungry for attention and that they were disgusted, that found them pathetic. I remember thinking, oh, that's really harsh. But today, this is so wild, I was feeling like abandoned and rejected and just like no one's really there for me. I know that that's not true, but that's how I was feeling. And then there was another piece about comparison, like it's easier for everyone else. Like, why does she get to have everything? I was asked, like, when was the first time like I started having those thoughts? And it was when I was 7, is when I moved to a school on the Eastern Shore from like the DC area. And I was like ostracized and bullied. Like kids made fun of me too before that, like in 1st and 2nd grade, but everyone got made fun of. So it wasn't the same feeling as suddenly I'm at this school with just like white and black kids and I was being targeted. None of the other kids had to deal with this, right? Like, so I know everyone was going through their own thing, but at the time that's how I felt. Like it's so unfair. How come I'm the target of all this negative attention? And by the way, I don't think I have narcissistic personality disorder, but I definitely resonated with a lot of the things that came up in these sessions. So one therapist asked the guy, is there anyone who really cared about you when you were little? Because he had abusive parents and siblings, and he's like, no. In fact, I don't think anyone really cares about me now. I mean, my parents and my brother and my family did care about me, but I didn't necessarily feel that. So when I was little, I didn't feel like I had anyone that I could actually talk to who cared about my feelings, who was encouraging or supporting me. At home, I wasn't abused. I mean, I was hit sometimes, but emotionally I felt neglected. And then house magic. So when I asked Tony to move these 2 cabinets, so I emptied them before we moved them. It was like full of papers and books, both of them, and I just to make them lighter. And I found this diary from 7th to 8th grade. So I think when I was 12 and 13. I remember I loved it because it had a lock and it was, I think it had gold pages. Thought it was really special at the time. I remember reading it in the past and just being struck by how boring it was. Like I just like list what I do every day. And then also how many times I wrote, I wish I was skinny, which made me really sad and scared for just all of us because I wasn't fat. To start reading it again. And this time, it just really affected me. Like I couldn't even go through a few pages before feeling really, I actually felt disgust. And I felt exactly like these people felt about their past selves. Disgusted by how manipulative, how attention seeking, how I cared about who was popular so much. Even though I was being bullied, I was doing the same thing to other people. I dictated the value of my days or how good the day went according to how many people were nice to me or if people were nice to me that day. So Rose, who was I considered my best friend at the time, but consistently keep going back and forth to being like I hate her, and being jealous of her and resentful, but wanting her to be my best friend still. So it says, today was pretty boring. Cubby and Mike teased me once or twice, but they were pretty nice. Tomorrow I'm wearing all black. Popular 8th graders are doing a petition to let us wear what we want and carry book bags around school. I didn't even remember that wearing all black was against the school rules, which is crazy. So we're going to try to persuade them to say it's okay. I'm scared that I'm going to get suspended, but I'm bringing a white sweater just in case. The only reason I'm doing it is to get attention from the 8th graders. Bye, I have to get information from the Oriental embassies. 8th grade, we were supposed to do this big topic paper, and my paper was on what is the difference between Chinese, Japanese, and Korean people, because I was so tired of being called Chinese or Japanese. I'll talk more about that later, because man. So anyway, so when I read that, I feel just so disgusted. Like, okay, first of all, I'm not actually moved by a cause. I'm just doing it to try to get popular. And even the bringing the white sweater, I was like, oh my God, you're so lame and lack courage and integrity. Like, you're pretending to be part of something, but you're actually more scared than ready to stand up for a cause. The attention on whether a boy was nice to me, not even if he liked me, but if he was nice to me or not. Or if I mean, because these boys that I name, that I say that I like and love, they teased me horribly. These like best friends. Yeah, there's one, oh, it kind of breaks my heart. This one, I do feel compassion. It's these two boys, again, that I like, are calling me Karate Kid all year. And finally, this one, my best friend, goes, she doesn't do karate. She doesn't know karate. And I was like, oh my God. And like, oh my gosh, she's actually sticking up for me, because no one did that. And then she says, yeah, she doesn't know karate. She knows Kung Fu. Ha 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 ha. And I think this was one of my issues with her that I had forgotten about, but like, she would act one way when we hung out outside of school, but at school she would like act like she was embarrassed of, whatever. And again, I was doing the same thing, being embarrassed of people who were actually nice to me. So yeah, that all disgusts me. Just like, how could you be just as lame as these other kids? Like letting yourself become like these people who are so ignorant. I was attempting to do a healing practice where I edit the memory or picture myself as my adult self there to protect this child part of me. As I kept reading the pages, I started to feel so overwhelmed. How can I recreate all these memories, or like how many times because there's so many specific, almost like every page there's like, even though it's boring and I'm just listing, there's like three or four things that are just so sad. Like how much I'm thinking about what other people think, the ways that I'm like giving myself up, the ways I judge myself, because I'm always self-aware. So I'll literally, like in the same moment that I'm doing these things, like just doing something just to be popular, I'm aware that that's not how I want it. Wow, maybe this is why I've never really been with these parts of myself a great deal, because it feels overwhelming. And then it came to me like, what if I just was with each page like a day, or like imagine myself as with this 12, 13-year-old self every night, that she like reads, tells me what her day was like. And I respond with a kind of commiseration and care and comfort and encouragement that I did not have. So back to like how this relates to the intelligence and choices. I saw how many bad choices that I was making and that the people around me were making because they did not feel loved. That I would choose to not stick up for one person because, she wasn't popular, even though I knew she was like a better person than a lot of the other kids. That decision, right, coming because I'm so hurt and wanting to change like my circumstance, not be someone who's always made fun of, and so not wanting to associate with other people who are made fun of. And then the people that are doing the making fun of, right, obviously they're not okay. Like, what's happened to these kids at home that they are going to school, and instead of just fucking playing because you're 12 and you have no real worries, instead of playing, you are cutting other kids down. We're not being loving with ourselves. We make bad choices. If I want to be more empowered, have more freedom and agency, it's actually not about trying to change anything outside of me. How can I be present with more love for myself inside? Because it is my inner lens, it's my perception that is both creating my reality and is what is guiding me towards or away from things, right? The more love I can bring to these hurt parts, right? Like, I was like, wow, I'm like being really harsh with myself. Like, of course, this little girl who wasn't getting the attention she needed at home, and then it comes to school to only get negative attention that is directed at her and her alone, that no one is stopping. Of course she's gonna be hungry for fucking attention. And that doesn't make her pathetic and weak, I see that that's really the way that I was feeling about that part of myself. The moon story, so the sun character, the moon totally just like resents him because he's so loving and everyone loves him, and she just feels like she like pales in comparison. And even though he doesn't treat her badly like the others do, she just assumes he's just like everyone else. By the end of the story, she realizes that she has been the one creating this distance and this sense of isolation. It was her own self-rejection that was doing that. And then she has a choice, right? To either continue to stay in the isolation that her mind is creating and the suffering, or to open to letting herself be met by this other being that she actually doesn't know, the masculine part of herself that makes choices, that defends, that knows what she wants and can go for it. Like, this part of myself was really shut down back then, but I have the power now to stop limiting myself and change the way I see myself, which changes everything. And which is actually the only way things change, really, right? Like, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So if I want to, and I do, co-create a world that's full of beauty and acceptance and tenderness, then of course I want to bring love to the parts of me that have been unable to hold myself that way.